Yo, what up? It's Aaron Moses, what up? And this video is about bipolar disorder and relationships. Now, I'm not gonna run down, everything about what bipolar disorder is. If you want to know my experience and my take on it, you have to watch previous videos that I made about it, alright? So, I got 13 points I'm going to touch on as far as how I feel bipolar disorder affects my romantic relationships, alright? So the first one, of course, is I do this thing where I am really close to the woman and then I push them away. And again, I think it's something that goes along with just having one extreme and then having the other, of course, because that's what bipolar disorder is. But it'll be something where I really want to engage with her, talk to her all day, just be around her, just be watching movies, holding each other, and then at some point we'll say like a week, 2 weeks later, I just want to be all in my own space, all in the zone, don't want to talk to her. And it's not like I think it's just I overload myself so much that I just need to just cleanse it, and it's not like everything's all good and I just have to start a fight just to shake things up a bit. But I do that sometimes. I will say that I do that though, and that is my next point, self-sabotaging the relationship. I might just get bored with everything being happy, everything being so, oh my God, it's in order, it's organized, and that is, we could chalk that up to something else as well as the bipolar disorder. But I do explore other people when it comes to when the romantic relationship is going really well. Now, I am not a cheater, but at the same time, when I feel a certain amount of confidence and security in the relationship, it makes me say, okay, this is good, this is going really well. I can spread this happiness to other people, and then I start making all these new friends, or I start focusing on other people. As soon as I know I'm secure in this relationship, I might want to talk to the homie a lot. I might want to talk to one of my homegirls a lot. And I might just do things like I get really comfortable in the consistency, and then I end up sabotaging the relationship in some way. And it's never when it's okay, it's when it's like at the peak of the romantic relationship being amazing. Nextly, man, my life can be a bit chaotic. Chaos means the presence of all. It means the presence of everything, okay? Without any particular order. So, as far as me wanting to just do everything in the world, I will have to admit that I'm a very mentally unorganized person. I do have to work on that, but when you involve another person in that, you have to understand, for you to be with somebody that is bipolar, you have to have some kind of something going on inside yourself as well. So let's say if I'm bipolar and this person is borderline personality or a narcissist or something like that, those two, a mood disorder and a personality disorder, which usually that's what it is, it's going to create something that is going to create chaos. It's going to be the full spectrum of everything in this relationship, and that's not always a good thing. Okay, so nextly, self-destructive behavior. I will have to say that most of the bipolar people that I've met, and I met a significant amount of bipolar people, and I'm sure you have too, have very self-destructive tendencies, whether that be addiction. Usually it's addiction, overeating, and they say statistically 80% of 80% of relationships where addiction is present, there is abuse that occurs. Am I an abusive person? No, I'm not. But what I do to myself affects that other person. Me drinking, how much I used to drink, I don't drink anymore. Me smoking, me staying up all night, me hanging out with the wrong people is definitely, you know, something that would affect my partner and takes a toll on her. So that is, I'm not saying, and again, I'm not saying that all bipolar disorder people are, you know, self-destructive and they harm themselves or anything like that, but it is very common, okay? Nextly, me setting goals is a big issue, right? Because of course, typically, just like a lot of people with bipolar disorder, I set a lot of big goals and I start a lot of projects and a lot of them get finished, but most of them don't. So me saying, okay, look, babe, we're gonna do this, we're gonna save our money, we're gonna go to freaking Atlantic City, then we're gonna go to New York, then I'm gonna fly to Vegas, then Atlanta, and then we're gonna come back home. Like, bro, I do that a lot. And when I'm saying these things and when I'm formulating these plans, I really, really believe it. In the back of my mind, I know I'm like, nah, you're going through something right now, bro. But I set a lot of goals. I try my hardest to actually accomplish them. But of course, it's not that I can't just say, oh, life happens. No, that's not exactly what it is all the time. You know, sometimes I really am making these goals off of just being manic. Like, that's a fact. But when I realize how realistic or unrealistic it is, I try to fuse it with my imagination, and I just use the energy for something else. Because realistically, you know, nobody's gonna go from Atlantic City to New York City to Vegas to Atlanta back to their home off of $15 an hour. That's just not gonna happen, okay? And then nextly, growth. Growth is a big issue in my relationships because I am always going from west to east, from right to left. It's hard to go forward. It's really hard to go forward when I have to deal with my own moods and me just waking up, eating healthily, you know, practicing good hygiene and going to sleep on time. If that is a real challenge for me, then me doing something greater with my life is an extreme challenge. It's not impossible. It takes a lot of stress and it takes a lot of pressure, you know, for me to actually move forward. It happens, but that's a real challenge for me. And of course, people don't want to be stagnant, and people don't want to go backwards, and people don't want to whatever. If they're not solid and they're not as loyal as they think, then they probably shouldn't be with people that's bipolar. All right. Nextly, it's real hard to. It's not really hard for me to empathize with people. It's just when I'm in my moods and when I'm in my zone, it's just me being either manic or depressed, right? I'm not always either or. Like right now, I'm normal, like a normal person. But when I am in those states, it kind of does something to your level of empathy, because if you're sad, you're very introspective. You can't really feel what other people feel because you're so overwhelmed, right? And I will say this, like I said in my last video, the doctor who explained to me what bipolar disorder is, it's kind of like your emotions are drugs. So think about if you were on a downer like Oxycontin, right? If you're down and if you're leaning and you're slumped over and you're drooling on yourself, you can't really be thinking about what other people feel because you're leaning so hard, right? That would be depression. And if you're on some uppers, right, which would be the mania, you're moving so fast and you're so into what you're doing in this moment, you can't really connect with people on that level because you're just so, you got on your Sonic shoes right now, you feel me? So you're just moving so quickly and you're thinking so much, and it's not like you're on crack when you're manic all the time. I could be manic and be perfectly still, but my mind is still racing and I'm still not on the same time as everybody else. So with me being in a whole different universe with the same personality, it's the same person, it's just a different mood, it's just a different setting on that oven. It's just, that's all it is. When you feel manic or depressed, it's really, really hard to empathize with people. So you might say something or do something, or your partner might say something or do something, and you won't feel what you need to be feeling because your heart space is preoccupied with something else, or you're just so in your head or in your lower body that your heart is not even something that you consider. Like, yeah. But I'm gonna give you guys a couple more points, man, and then I'm gonna probably make a part two. I am gonna make a part two. Nextly, the amount of stress that is introduced to a relationship is a lot. Because, like, just think about it like this. What if you had a car and I'm the car? What if you had a car and the car only went either under 40, right? Or over 65. So you can either only go on residential streets or the expressway. Don't you think that would stress you out a bit? If you're like, okay, if your car had talked to you and they were like, all right, look, bro, you need to reroute you need to reroute how you're gonna get to work, because today I'm not about to be driving over 65 miles per hour, my nigga. So you gotta take the back streets today. And you're like, damn, I'm running late, my dude. And you bought this car, you gotta be more responsible. You gotta be a different type of person to drive this car. You bought this car, you knew what you were signing up for, you signed the lease, you're making your payments, you're doing real well, I'm proud of you. But maybe we might be able to get on the expressway tomorrow, or you might be able to take the streets, but today it's just not your day. Don't you think that would stress you out? Like, it's not funny, but that's just, it is what it is. But yeah, man, I'm just gonna make a part two and just give you the rest of this list, man. But that's it. It's Aaron Moses on the bang, you the bang, we the bang together. Bang bang, peace. Life is in the breath, breathing in.